thought it was hard to read Daily Word after that last one. Oh my gosh. Wow. 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 That was just beautiful. So beautiful. I've always wanted to be part of a country club, and I didn't realize I was joining Club Love today, so I'm like super happy. I didn't know this was a club, and then it's Love Club, and I'm like super happy to be here, so I was like, oh yes, I'm in the club. So I'm super excited about that, and I was thinking as I was preparing for this message, I was thinking, what would people say is the biggest flaw about me? And I have a lot of flaws, I just want to put that out there right away, but a lot of people make fun of me and tease me, and I love to tease. I'll tease you back, and I can take some teasing, but people tell me I love too much. You just love too much. You love too easily. You never let go of the love. And I said, well, that is true. It's just true about me. It just is. If I ever loved you, I will always love you. Even if you hurt me, I will always love you. It doesn't mean you will always be in my life, but I will always love you. I was talking to a pastor once, and she was kind of on the early stages of me writing this book, and she said, it's interesting to me, Annie, that you have so many painful childhood memories, but for whatever reason, I was opening my wallet, and I have a picture of me and my mom and my 6 siblings. And she said, what adult carries a picture of their family around with them, and especially someone with so much pain like you? And I said, I don't know, I love the love. I don't know, I love to give the love. I still want to love people, and there's a song out saying I fall in love a little bit every day, a new song, and I love it. I'm like, I do too. I don't know who that guy is, but I'm going to find him and go, yes, finally. I fall in love with the movies, the commercials, the women I meet, the men I meet. I just fall in love. My husband doesn't always love it. I'm like, I love that guy. And he's like, do you need to love everyone? And I'm like, I get to love everyone. It's a gift to feel that sort of depth and love toward everyone, toward people, to see inside of people what other people don't see. Now, if you ask me what color hair you have or your eyes, I will probably have no idea, but I will know your heart. I will see your heart, and I will love your heart. Even of the most broken and hurtful people, there is so much left to love if we look through the lens, really, of our heart. So today I'm going to speak about the impact of love, and I like acronyms, so impact is an acronym. And I think that love, to be loving, to choose love, is an intention. It's a way of being. I will be loving today, period. Not I will be loving if people are nice to me. I will be loving if the weather cooperates. It's just I will be loving, even if it's hard. Now you will hear my challenges coming up in a bit. But I just wanted to start with that. I want you to think about that. We get to decide how we're going to show up in the world. And if we decide we're going to show up as loving, intentionally loving people, we can make a huge positive impact. And the I in impact is about intention, is about a choice. Yesterday I was listening to someone and they were saying life by choice, not by chance. I thought, absolutely, absolutely. Because if it just happens by chance, it's not going to turn out so pretty. But if it happens by choice, if we choose love, we have the opportunity to have a different outcome. So I want to share some stories with you about people that have impacted my life by being intentional with love. And the first person is a woman named Kate. And I met Kate when I was 11 years old. We lived in Champaign, Illinois, and we had lost everything in a fire. And my mother had one sister that lived here, but her sister's husband struggled with some issues and couldn't handle us moving in. So we lived there for a couple weeks, and then basically my mother and us 7 kids were homeless in Minnesota. Not fun. And it was in 1979, so it was a little while ago, and my mother would call shelters, and they would say, well, we can take you and 3 of your kids, but we can't really take more than 3 kids. Well, what are you supposed to do with the other 4? But she would call, and we would visit churches, actually, a variety of churches, and usually they had a free phone that we could use. And we were visiting a church in New Hope, and my mother was on the phone calling, and once again being told, there's no place for you. There's no room at the inn. There's too many of you. And the secretary overheard my mom and heard my mom's tears. What am I supposed to do with me and my 7 children and no place to go? And the secretary said, you know what? Many years ago, my husband left me with the 7 kids. And this woman took me in. And I always wondered, how could I ever repay that woman? And the woman said, never worry about it. I've given you this as a gift. No need to return it. But if anyone ever needs this gift, pass it forward. And she took my mom and us 7 kids in. She didn't know us. She opened her house and her heart. And for all 7 of us, if you ask any of my siblings, they will say, she was an angel. I loved Outside Your Door. It's at capacity 200, but 10,000 angels. I've had angels sprinkled all over my life, and I've been so blessed. My angels. Kate was an angel. She was intentional about her love. She opened her home. She made us meals. Now, she did have 2 cute young sons, which all 4 of us girls fought over, and I don't think any of us won, but we had so much fun there. She made us feel special, and like her sons were fighting with us and playing with us and hanging out. They just made us feel welcome like a family. We weren't guests in their home. We were welcome. She was very intentional about her love. The next person I want to share a story about is my husband and I do own a gym, and we have this trainer. We have this awesome personal trainer. He loves to work out, and very fit young guy. And he trains group classes, not very often, but occasionally at our gym. And we have a really committed clients. These ladies love him. Our average age is 60, and we have clients as old as 95. And they bake for him, and they cook for him, and they give him vacation gifts. I mean, just you name it, they love him. They sew for him. I mean, they love him. And they also all try to set him up with their daughters, granddaughters, nieces, whoever they know. He just recently got married. But many years ago, I was in the gym doing a class. It's hard to work out at your own gym as people want to talk about their membership, so I don't hang out there too much to work out. And I was in there working out, and we were in a circle. There was maybe 8 or 9 of us, and I was whining. Because I told you I have a lot of flaws. I was just whining. I was like, I can't do another push-up. My back hurts. My hip. Now, these women are 80 years old, and I'm in there whining, so it wasn't so good. And they were like, leave Adam alone. Who cares what he tells us to do? You listen to him. And I'm like, oh, he's mean. Oh, he is not mean. And they got real defensive. They were really protective of him. Don't you say anything mean about our Adam. We love Adam. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, well, I hired Adam, so I must like him too, otherwise he wouldn't still be here. But I love Adam. He's a great guy. But they were so defensive. I mean, they got mad at me. And then they all left, and I turned to him and I said, what is the deal with that? These women love you so much. Why do they love you so much? And he said, they're only female. And I said, listen. And I said, no, really, why do they love you so much? And he said, I don't know. He said, you know, I work out with them, we have fun together, I'm their friend. But I went home that night, and I tend to be busy all day, but when I get home and I'm laying in bed, it's when I think. It's when my mind says, what just happened today? And why did it happen? And what did it mean? And so I was laying in bed, and I was thinking, well, he is younger than you, yes. He is cuter than you, yes. And he is way more buff than you. But is that enough? Does that make people love us and defend us? Does that make people stand by our side and give us the keys to their condo in Florida? Is that enough? To be young and cute and fit? And the only answer I could come up with was, no, it's not enough. So what is it that Adam does intentionally that we could all do that would make a huge difference in people's lives? And this is what Adam does. Jeff, I'm here with you. Jeff, I know you're getting tired right now and you don't want to do any more push-ups, but I'm going to stay with you until you do them. I'm going to be with you right by your side. And you know what, Jeff? I believe in you. And I know you're going to get to where you want to go, and I'm going to be next to you. In addition to looking in your eyes and speaking your name and pouring belief into you, he touches you in a respectful, loving way. And it got me to thinking, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that I love my husband and my children and my friends and my family. But am I showing them? Have I touched them and looked at them and spoke their name and poured belief into them? Who have you done that for? Who have you done that with? Because we can say we love people, but if we're not intentional about our actions and our words, then how do we show the world that we love? It got me to go home and tell my husband I loved him and touch him and look at him. We do something silly called wine at 9. I'm not encouraging you to drink, but wine at 9 is about looking eyeball to eyeball and either having a glass of wine, whining about your day, or just unwinding without your phone. It doesn't have to be with your spouse. Look someone in the eye and be intentional. Connect. Adam does something amazing with our clients, and they feel loved and respected and seen and valued and loved by him. And they are loyal. They tell all their friends, there is no other trainer like this trainer. You have to come to this gym. They don't ask them. They tell them, you have to come. And their friends listen. if we are intentional with our love in a way that is so impactful, looking people in the eye, we are so busy looking down. But when we look people in the eye, and when we touch someone and we pour love and belief into them, it changes everything. If you want, at this moment, you could take out inside your toolkit is paper and a pen, and you could write down the name of someone that you will pour love into today or this week or before you leave here today. Who will you look at and say something kind to and speak their name and change their heart and make them seem seen and valued? Another story about intention is kind of by accident. And it does have to do with how you live your lives and what people see about you that you're not even aware of. So I do have 3 children. I have a 27-year-old that lives in Milwaukee, a 21-year-old that's getting ready to graduate from Stout, and then a 17-year-old. And I love, love, love special time alone with each one of those children. I never got to have that growing up, and so I get to have this one-on-one time. And one of the most special memories for me over the years, and hopefully someday for them, is going and visiting colleges. And so each child, my husband's very busy with his work. He's not able to come. I'm able to go visit 5 colleges with in different states. And we spend the day and we get donuts and we laugh and I lock the doors and they talk to me more than they normally do. And it's a wonderful time. And this summer, or last summer, I was visiting colleges with my youngest. And the doors were locked and we were driving. And he is not much of a talker, but he was in a role. We were talking. And then he turns to me and he goes, "Mom, yeah? You know I'm not like you." Okay. "No, really, I am not like you. I'm like Dad." "Yep, got it. Seriously, Dad and I are exactly alike, but you're not." I'm like, "Okay, you were 9'4" when you were born. I was there. You're a little like me." And he said, No, you know how you talk and then think?" "Yeah." "Well, Dad and I, we don't do that." "Yeah, I know." Like Dad and I, we watch things. And we think about things, and then we think some more, and a little more, and then we might talk, or we might not. "Okay, got it." Well, like, for 5 years, I've been in the back seat thinking about something. Okay. Wow, now I'm in the front seat, and I'm going to tell you. I've been watching you. Oh, no. What did we do? Well, I've been watching you, and I've been thinking about it. And the weird thing about Dad is Dad's right-handed. And you know, Dad's right-handed, and he can throw the ball with the left hand, but he is not left-handed. "Yeah?" "Well, like when I'm sitting in the back seat, Dad always drives with his left hand." "Oh, I've never noticed." "Well, Mom, in driver's training, you got to learn 10 and 2. And then once you get good, you can drive with one hand. But Dad always drives with his left hand. I thought it was real weird. Why does Dad drive with his left hand? I've been thinking about this for 5 years. Who thinks about something for 5 years? I think about it 5 seconds. What is that? Why are you driving like? I don't know. I just think and talk, or talk and then think. But he thinks and thinks and thinks like his dad. And then he said this to me. And then I realized why Dad does that. You see, Dad always drives with his left hand, Mom. So he always has his right hand available to hold yours anytime you want to hold his hand. And it got me to thinking, I want to be like Dad. I want to learn to drive 10 and 2, but when I get good, I want to be comfortable to drive with my left hand, so my right hand's available to hold the hand of whoever sits next. Sometimes intention isn't intentional, and yet it makes a huge impact, as my son sits in the back. And then he said, after I do that, I'm going to teach my friends how to do that, so they know that it's important to hold the hand of the person next. I'm glad he waited 5 years to tell me that story. I love that story. The last story I want to tell you about being intentional is about my dad. My dad drank himself to death a few years ago. I hadn't seen him in 26 years, and my 3 older sisters and my mom and I paid to have his body shipped from Mexico here and then buried at Fort Snelling and have a funeral. We had a funeral service. And there was a letter from somebody in Mexico, and it was read to us by the pastor. And then after the service, the pastor and I were talking, and I said, why? I said, this is so important to me. This funeral, giving dignity to a life, is so important to me. And I said, why is it so important to me? I have 2 memories of my dad, and neither is good. Why does this matter? And he said, the character of your father does not matter. It is who you are. And that you can be a loving daughter even if you didn't receive love back. You can love and honor a life even if other people can't understand what is lovable or valuable about that life. That love and honor is a choice. That we can choose to honor someone even if we don't get it returned. I'm never saying abuse is okay or anything like that. But I am saying how we dignify another person's love leaves an impact. And I found some scriptures with the word love in. And this one, to me, related to the intention of our heart without the outcome. But love your enemies. Do good to them. Lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, because you are children of the Most High. The Most High. And so I loved that. I thought about how we get to choose to be intentional and kind. We get to choose what our actions are when someone's watching or they're not, or we have no idea they are. We get to choose. The M in impact is about making it happen, making the choice to do things differently. I had so much fun making those love bags. It was actually, I had gotten all the little goodies for you guys, and I was having so much fun. And then I was talking to my one sister that lives in town, and she said, I want to come over and make Valentine baggies with you. And I was like, awesome. So we hung out, and we had lunch, and we made the bags, and she was so excited. And she's working today, otherwise she would be here joining you. But sometimes it takes effort and energy, and sometimes we're tired and we don't feel like it. And the scripture that came to me for make it happen, which for me was very humorous, but I think I'm really funny and not everybody understands my humor, so hopefully a couple of you will, but was 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, which is read at so many weddings, and it says, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of right and wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there is prophecies, they will cease. And where there are tongues, they will be stilled. And where there is knowledge, it will pass. And when I was reading this, and all I kept thinking is sometimes, not always, sometimes. And I don't know if any of you think that's funny, but for me, if I was patient and kind and love and never envy, but then I realized it's not we are, it is. Because only sometimes am I patient and kind, and I don't get jealous or envious, or I don't get angry about a little thing. But that's about the human natures that we do. I mean, for me, God is love. God loves me in spite of all my messiness and all my mistakes. And so I do things that other people might not do, but because I see in other people myself when they struggle. So the other day I was driving along, and this is where it's the make it happen. Look for ways to love. Don't just wait for them to come to you. Look for them. And in Minnesota in the winter, I find lots of ways to love. And one big, huge way is that there are people walking down these streets. Teenagers without coats on, elderly people, single moms. I always stop and say, do you need a ride? Now when my children are with, they're like, do we have to pick somebody? And I say, we do. And my husband's like, do you have to pick up hitchhikers? I'm like, they're not hitchhikers. They're people that don't have cars. They're people that need a warm, quick ride somewhere. Make it happen is about looking for opportunities to love. Looking for the elderly woman at the grocery store that you could hold the door for. Make it happen doesn't have to be big and huge. I love to look for the crabby person and just ask them about their day. I love to look them in the eye and smile at them. Now, you don't always get a smile back. But love isn't always about what we receive. It's often about what we're able to give. As I was sharing with someone with the basket this morning, my basket is full. But it hasn't always been. And man, those people along the path of my life that were there for me and lit the way when I didn't feel lovable or loving, they made all the difference. They made all the difference. And you can be that person. So I encourage you, I invite you, look for someone who's hurting because they're out there. I mean, I picked up 2 teenage girls this week, And they were coming from what other people were calling the naughty high school, which I don't really refer to anything as naughty. They're kids struggling. And I picked them up, and they were so happy. And then they just start talking to me, talking. They were so excited. And I was like, wow, I didn't really expect it. And they're like, thank you so much. This is so awesome. And the other people can label those kids naughty kids or the naughty school. And all I saw was 2 kids freezing without a coat who just needed a little ride down the street. The opportunity to give love usually, not always, but usually blesses you back. Usually find something inside of it, some sort of a gift, and you go, that was for me. P. The P is your purpose. What is your purpose? What is the purpose in giving love? Is it to receive back? Or is it because you have enough and you need to just share a little? I hope, and I see by your beautiful music here, that the first purpose in love is knowing to love ourselves. That I love me just the way I am, that I am worthy of good in my life, that I am worthy of love in my life. And love shows up in lots of different ways. We're going to talk about that in the workshop. We're going to talk about the 5 love languages and how you know how to receive love and how to give love to others. But if you don't love yourself, if you have that negative self-critical talk inside your head that is running constantly, it is really difficult to go out and love another. And yet, even if you feel low, and even if you feel unlovable, and even if you feel unworthy, when you take that and go serve another, you sometimes get a new perspective in life. A new perspective of what is this about. I wasn't going to share this story with you guys, but I think I am, because I think one of my purpose, I think perspective is huge. The P does stand for purpose and why we do the things we do, but perspective is huge. I hope I didn't share this story last time I was here, and if I did, here we go. But when I was a little girl, as I shared, I was raised by a single mom. I'm the middle of 7 kids, and we lived in what most people don't know as American poverty. Most people don't think that people in this country live as poor as some people do. And so we, when we were little, would have to go to dumpsters. And we would jump in the dumpsters and look for food. And we knew what day different food was thrown out. And I have 2 brothers that are younger than me, and the 2 of them and I were the same size, same weight and same size for many years. So my youngest brother would sit in the cart that we were borrowing from the grocery store, and my older siblings would throw us in, and we would throw stuff out of the dumpster to them. Which sometimes is really sad to think about, and other times is kind of silly to think about. But over the years, those stories and experiences are things that my siblings and I sometimes talk about when we get together. And a number of years ago, I was praying with a prayer chaplain, and I was working on some forgiveness stuff and some healing stuff, and somehow that story came up. And I honestly have no idea how. I said it was such a sad time, and we usually went on the bakery days. And I hate angel food cake. And it's the only cake my in-laws eat for every holiday. And I hate angel food cake because there was a time we got a lot of angel food cakes, like 300. So we lived on angel food cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snack. And then it got so stale and it made us so sick that we decided to sell it on the street corner for 10 cents a cake to try and make a little money. But then the police came up and told us we had stolen stuff, and you're not supposed to sell stolen stuff, which of course we did not know because we were little kids. But I was sad about it, and I was thinking, oh, just how did we survive all the things we went through? And then this woman said this to me. Oh my gosh, I love that story. Like, okay, that's kind of weird. No, I love it. That's a powerful story. Why? And she said, well, you knew when the bakery threw food out, but you didn't know if it was going to be hot dog buns or cupcakes or a Danish or whatever it could be. But it was angel food cake. Don't you get? God sent manna from heaven to meet you in the dumpster and to give you angel food cake in the midst of your need. Now, it might not have been protein and vitamins, and it might not have been gluten-free and this and that we have today, but it was angel food cake. And it honestly saved our lives, right? So it's perspective, because let me tell you, it's been a lot of years of being sad about that, about my siblings yelling, don't slip on the lettuce, get this, throw it farther. I mean, it sounds like a fun game, but it really wasn't. It was a survival technique. And my mother was wise, and she did what she had to do to provide. But it was Angel. So when our perspective changes and we think not about what we are lacking or the dirt that we are digging through to find the goods, but we just see the goods and that they're a gift, it's a new perspective. And it can give us a new purpose and a new message in life. The A is for adaptability. Life is changing. It's always changing. Love is changing. We've had so much go on with us the last couple of weeks. My daughter, my sweet daughter, her best college friend, the parents have been going through a painful divorce, and the dad suddenly died of a heart attack. 58 years old. And my daughter was crying and saying, how do I love her? And I said, you do nothing but be with her. She'll tell you she needs nothing, but you just go sit alongside of her, and you touch her, and you give her some love, and you bring her a treat. And just be there. Don't try to let her. It's grief, and it's a painful journey. We all have to go through it. We lose people in our lives. In 1 year, I had 6 girlfriends move away for a variety of reasons. It was a huge loss for me. Sometimes I tell my husband, I'm sorry, guys, but sometimes a breakup with a girlfriend's harder than a breakup with a guy. No offense. But like, I just love my girlfriends. I was missing them. I was sad. And just the journey. I have another girlfriend who just went through a recent breakup, and we're texting each other, and she's thinking about internet dating and this and that, and what should I do? And I just said, you know, sometimes when we need that other person so bad, it's time to nod and to start to love ourselves again. To find where's our value as a human being, with or without those people that say that they love us in our lives. Can we be with ourselves? Can we love ourselves? Do we believe we have enough value to be out there in the world? I was talking about adaptability is about change. It's about life's relationships always changing. And I like the scripture Matthew. I love the name Matthew. That's my oldest name. 22:37, and it just says, love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And that's the greatest commandment. But the second is love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I think even in reverse, first love yourself and then love your neighbor. I think it's important to remember that relationships change and life changes, those intimate relationships, those friendships, those family relationships. People die. People move away. People break our hearts. We can still love ourselves, and if we don't, then we'll never have love to go out into the world. And I think that's the most beautiful picture to me in the world, is just love going out from people. I love watching people, watching their words and their actions, of how they interact with those around them. I just love that. And C is for commitment, staying committed, committed to love, committed to kindness, even in the midst of struggle. One of my clients at the gym, I was talking to him the other day, and he's a professor at a university, or he was for 30 years, and he teaches philosophy regarding Catholicism and Judaism. And recently he started to challenge some of the rules of one of those denominations, and he was asked not to teach anymore. My heart broke because he's such a wise man. He taught incredible things, but he was telling me that he's friends with many rabbis and many priests and many pastors. And he said once he told the rabbi, read the Old Testament and tell me if you could explain the Old Testament in just a few words without using the word God. And if you could explain the New Testament to the priest without using the word God in just a few words, what would you say? And they just said, love. So if the Bible or the daily word or whatever you meditate or pray about, if it doesn't direct you to love, then to me it's missing the point. Because it's all about love. It all is love. In this broken and hurting world, there are a lot of people that need love. They need our love. They need us to show up differently. And to be kindness because maybe they don't know that. To be love because maybe nobody ever told them they were worth being loved. And once you get enough and you love yourself enough, it is not for you to keep. It is for you to open and share. And lastly is the T in impact. And the T is about having the right tools. And I could probably ask each and every one of you, what are your tools to be equipped to receive love, and to give love, and you might have a variety of answers. I created these toolkits for a couple of reasons. One, I love the love. I love to share the love. I love to give the love. I love to receive the love. I go to networking groups. People write me a referral for some product, and I write back, thanks for the love note. They're like, it wasn't a love note. But in my mind, every note is a love note. Every card I get, I have boxes of love at home. I love the love. But this is a toolkit for you. And what I wanted you to do as an exercise, and you can do it in here, or you can do it at the workshop, or you can take it home and do it with someone else. But what I thought about is, last time I was here, I met a woman. And actually, I've spoken at a couple churches since the last time I was here, but one was here and one was at another church I was at, and they both said to me, even though I go to church, I don't feel like anyone there sees me. I don't know if church people are any nicer than the people out there. And this is what I said. They're just people. They're just people. They're messy and complicated and confusing. We don't have to judge that people inside a church or outside a church are better or worse. We just get to love. And what I wanted you to do with this tool, because that woman said, I don't feel seen. And another woman said to me, I don't feel seen. Nobody sees me. Now, this can be personal about our own stuff. But what I was hoping we could do was take out your toolkit. You have a pen and you have multiple pieces of paper. And look to the left of you and to the right of you and write at least those two people a note. That way, when you leave here today, not one person would go without a note. If you're at the end of a row, look to the person behind you. If you're at the end of the row, look to the... There's people back in the sound booth. We don't want to miss anybody. I want everybody to have a Valentine. I want everybody to have some love in their life. It's a toolkit to have love and share love. Sometimes just telling someone they have pretty earrings will make someone's face light up. Use the tools that you've been given. I don't know what your tools are. For me, God's word is my #1 tool. When I am feeling down and alone, God reminds me that I have value and that I've been given these gifts to share with the world around me. So, if you guys are going to go, look at you. I love that you're doing this. Share the love. Did everybody get a love bag? Oh, yes, we have plenty of love bags, I believe. Toolkit, love bag, Valentine. There is a Valentine in there for each of you as well. There should be a blue pen in all of them. You got to scribble a little. They're brand new pens. I just got them. They say be the exception on them. Hi. Because be the exception is something that we can all be and choose to do. Because we know that all these virtues put love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But we know that the greatest of these is love. So enjoy your tool basket, whether you use it here or you take it with you. Use it to share love, to spread love, and to be the love in someone's life. Thank you so much.